It is the 12th day of April 2018. Welcome to New Vision TV News around Uganda, where we look at stories making headlines across the country. I am your host, Ruth Naseje, and we kickstart off today's bulletin from Nebbi district. 3 students of Ringi Secondary School in Nebbi district are admitted in critical condition at Mengo Hospital in Kampala following a fatal accident that occurred on Tuesday. Jonathan Oyeye, Mary Fiona Paramo, and Tracy Oyuru sustained severe injuries on their heads, arms, and legs. The children were airlifted to Kampala aboard a Uganda People's Defense Forces helicopter, which landed at Kolo Independence Grounds, where they were picked by medical personnel in ambulances. The 3 are some of the 49 students of Ringi Secondary School who were involved in a fatal accident on Tuesday, where the Isuzu truck they were traveling in lost control and veered off the road before overturning about 1.5 kilometers away from the school. Hassan Hiwumbire, the officer in charge of Goli Police Border Post, identified the dead as Linda Akech, a senior 3 student from Alebong, Isaac Manono, a senior 4 student from Parombo, and Victory Thungia, a senior 5 student from Mamba in Nebbi district. Moving on to Kamuli district, the police have recovered a 9-year-old girl who was kidnapped by a woman about 12 days ago. Ruth Fatina Nabandala, who was kidnapped on March 29th, was recovered from Buwenge town on Kamuli Ginger Road on Tuesday morning after the kidnapper called Kamuli Central Police Station and told them to pick up the girl from an elsewhere person only identified as Musitwa. The kidnapper also called the girl's relatives and told them that she had not kidnapped Nabandala but taken her to work as a housemaid. She then told them to find the girl at Kamuli Central Police Station and hang up. The primary 3 pupil at Nabirumba Primary School in Nabiwungulu Sub-County Kamuli District was kidnapped on her way back to her guardian's home in Irapa Village, Buyaga Sub-County, Buyende District. Before we move on to other stories making headlines across the country, let us look at what is making headlines in today's copy of the New Vision. And the headlining story today is New Pay Scale for Civil Servants out. Also in the New Vision, lost SIM cards will be replaced in 5 days. Also, refugees have gunshot wounds. These stories are all in your copy of the New Vision in detail, so grab your copy today and find them. We have USO launches a program for refugee children and women. The story is detailed here. SIM card replacement now takes 5 days. Age Limit Act was decisive, says petitioner's lawyer. Also in the New Vision, police immigration officers arrested over refugees. We have all those stories in detail into this copy of the New Vision, so grab your copy today and find them. Today, New Vision starts a new series of a man called Dan Wadada Nabondere. Dan Wadada Nawombere is said to be the Uganda's shadow president, and he was a man who could have ruled Uganda, but he didn't. We start the series today, so grab your copy of the New Vision, and this series will run up to Sunday. So the series starts today, and get to know the man who was the shadow president of Uganda and why he didn't rule Uganda. Every Thursday we have the business tender. The headlining story for business is mobile money tax may reverse financial inclusion gains, says experts. The story is right here in detail, so grab your copy. Go slow on mobile money tax hike, experts tell government. We have all those stories in detail into this copy of the New Vision. And from sports, impressive Ukraine's ramp Scotland plot for South Africa. Yes, the Ukrainians made us proud during the Commonwealth Games that are taking place in Gold Coast in Austria. We have the story here. Uganda's medal assault shifts to the 800 meters. Remember, I told you I have analysts in Gold Coast who are giving us all the analysis we need to know on the Commonwealth Games. So grab your copy of the New Vision and read all these stories here. The copy of the New Vision is only 2,000 shillings and we are proudly the leading daily. We're from your copy of the New Vision. Let's continue looking at what is making headlines across the country. And from Butaleja district, floods have cut off the Butaleja-Mbale road, making the road impassable. The banks of River Manafa, which flows through Butaleja district, burst yesterday morning, causing heavy floods at Doho rice scheme after 2 days of rainfall in most parts of the district. Taxis and motorists are now forced to use the alternative route through the Tilinyi Highway in order to access Mbale town. Taxi fares to Mbale have been doubled from the usual 5,000 shillings to 10,000 shillings. Ahmed Were, a driver, said he expects the situation to normalize after 2 weeks. Were said taxi operators have been forced to double the fares because Tilinyi route is much further. However, over 300 acres of maize and rice have also been destroyed by the floods. George Kabaya, a farmer at Doho rice scheme, said his family was likely to experience famine as a result of the destruction of his 60 acres of rice. Finally, from Mukono district, Mukono High Court Judge Margaret Mutonya has convicted and sentenced 2 local leaders to 15 and 18 years in prison for aiding mob justice, which led to the death of a suspected thief. The convicts are Isa Tumuleke, 65 years, and Ahmed Isa Kira, 30 years, where the LC Secretary and the Defense Secretary, respectively. They were leaders of Bulutwe Village Council in Ngogwe Sub-County, Buyukwe District. The prosecution team told court that on June 17, 2013, Tamlekera and Kira arrested Edward Egesa, 20 years, who was suspected for stealing a cow, and handed him over to residents who beat him to death. Court heard that Egesa was picked up from his home by a duo tied with a rope by Tamlekera and led to the home of the village chairperson, from where he was beaten to death. According to the post-mortem report, Egesa's body was later set on fire by the mob. And that's all we had for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch more news updates and other programs here on New Vision TV by visiting our website www.newvision.co.ug/video. I am Rothi Naseje.